Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ. And look at UCLA. They actually lost this week to Arizona State 21-24. So now they are ranked 6th in the nation. USC moves up to number 2. Remember, we beat USC last year. And they have UCLA coming up. Look at this score versus TAMU. They absolutely destroy them 51-14. So now they're the number 2 team in the nation. Looking around other conferences, though, look at the Big Ten. Maryland is on top of the Big Ten right now. And if you look at their schedule, they actually beat Ohio State by 2 points, 22-20. That's a weird score, but they beat them 22-20. So they're on their way to possibly being in the conference championship over Ohio State. Would you ever have thought that Maryland of all teams would be on top of their side of the conference ahead of Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Michigan State? I mean, this is just insane. They're the top team in the Big Ten right now. And looking at the Big 12, it's us and Iowa State. So Iowa State is finally on top of their division, 3-0 in their division. They do have Texas Tech, Texas, and then Baylor to round out the season. We kind of have an easier schedule, to be honest, because if you look at our schedule, let's just look at it. So we actually have BYU coming up, who's 3-8. I mean, they are just doing bad. Oklahoma's 3-6 as well, and West Virginia's 5-4. So we kind of have a couple of games where it's not going to be too difficult. I mean, I don't want to jinx it or anything, but I mean, we should have an easy path. Looking at the ACC, Virginia Tech, North Carolina. North Carolina's still, they're 8-1. They're still top 5, so they're still in the mix. But Virginia Tech did beat them, so that kind of hurts them a little bit as far as national attention goes. And looking at the ACC, Alabama's still there at number 3. They're 9-1. Florida's there at 11. They're 9-1 as well. So I expect them to probably. Let's see if they play each other coming up. Actually, I think, okay, Georgia was the team that beat Alabama. So looking at they're probably going to meet in the conference championship. It looks like Florida versus Georgia. That should be a good game. So now we're headed towards the bottom 3, last 3 games of the season. So going up against BYU, they're 3-8. So I don't expect them to be very good. Their offense is 108th in the nation. Pass offense looks like they can't pass at all. Looks like they just run the ball. So let's get into this game, man. Let's go. So we've had a string of games where we've scored pretty much like 35 points or more. We haven't had much competition this year, and this is what I was trying to avoid with this rebuild, being good way too early. But I mean, what can you do? I mean, if you're dominating like this, I mean, I don't switch on defense at all. You see I use your one guy all the time, and I guess my team just plays better than what their ratings are. So here we are going up against BYU, another team that came over with us to the Big 12, and they're not doing so well this year, to be honest. They're not doing so well. Last year they did decent, but this year they're doing just as bad as Oklahoma. Oklahoma is actually on a 6-game losing streak, and I mean, they are at the bottom of the Big 12 now, which is pretty surprising. I mean, it took maybe 2 years without Baker Mayfield for them to just straight up collapse. So now we're ahead of on top of the Big 12, and on the other side, it's Iowa State pretty much beating out Texas for that top spot in their side of the conference. And I mean, I'm not surprised because Texas on this game really isn't too good. They're never like the number 1 team. Usually Alabama's up there, usually like USC is up there, but you never really see Texas up there too often. And I mean, what can you do? I mean, since we're in the Big 12, I was expecting it to be a little bit more tough than it is, though, to be honest with you, because last year we did make it to the Big 12 championship, and it was a little bit tough, but I was expecting it to be way more tough than it was. I was still upsetting teams, but now, I mean, it's pretty much a cakewalk to the conference championship, and the only competition we really had, I mean, is probably when we played Texas. They gave us a pretty good game. Oklahoma usually gives us a good game. But I mean, nobody that's really just up there in terms of giving us some competition. So hopefully when we face Iowa State in the conference championship, they put up a good fight, because chances are we're going to make it. I'm not saying I'm not guaranteeing we're going to make it, but we're pretty much locked in. I mean, it would take an epic collapse for us not to make it, because I mean, all these games, I mean, we're just pulling away late and early. We're not giving up too many points now. We're playing good defense. So I mean, we're doing pretty good as an all-around team, and that's definitely something we wanted to get to, because with the departure of a bunch of veterans, with Red Johnson coming at middle linebacker, a lot of freshmen starting, we didn't know exactly how good we would be on defense, but it looks like a lot of these guys are just fitting in perfectly, especially with Josh Dunbar moving to the slot. So now we have a lockdown corner at the slot position. Speaking of Josh Dunbar, there he is for the interception. And it's a 14-7 lead here in the second quarter, and Parks already throws his first interception, and we take over at about the 50-yard line. So Alex Brown gets the handoff to the outside, using that speed to get around the defenders that time, and getting up to about the 20-yard line on a 30-yard rush. So facing a 3rd and 1 inside the 15-yard line, gonna get it out to Ben Miller, and Ben Miller's gonna use his stiff arm but not get into the end zone. But we're going to be on the 1-yard line to get to set it up for Alex Brown to get in for the touchdown. And that's going to be 22 rushing touchdowns on the year for Alex Brown. And definitely his career high, more than he's ever had. And he's definitely going to have the most yards ever had in the season. And speaking of straight defense, John Waters with the interception right there. So another turnover by Parks, throwing it to our defense, John Waters that time. And now we're back on offense with Albert Vick leading us out, running the ball to the right, getting out of bounds, getting smacked on that one, fumbling, but luckily he was going out of bounds. So facing a 2nd and 10, throwing to Christopher Rubright, running over a defender and getting to about the 15-yard line. So now Marquette's inside the 15-yard line, facing a 3rd and 7, and a rare run call on this one, giving it to Alex Brown, but trusting him, but he gets stuffed, and that's not going to be a first down. But it's 21-7. I'm just like, man, might as well just go for it. I go for it, give it to Jimmy Ward, and Jimmy Ward does get the first down. He picks up 6 yards, only needed 5. Picks up 6 yards and gets the first down. So now 45 seconds left in the half. Alex Brown caps it off with the touchdown up the middle, and that one's going to be a 28-7 lead at halftime, and we get the ball to start the second half. So giving it to Alex Brown to start the half, getting past the 50-yard line on a nice 22-yard handoff to the outside. So now facing a 3rd and 4, almost to about the 35-yard line, rolling out right. Albert Vick throws an absolute dud to the receiver that time, and that one's going to be deflected. So we do have to settle for the long field goal, and that one is going to be good. I don't even know if Adam Davis has even missed a field goal in his career. He's just been money ever since the day he stepped on campus. And here is BYU back on offense, trying to get it to Lotu, and he cannot get the first down. So now they punt the ball away once again, and it's a 31-7 lead. And this game is pretty much out of reach. We're towards the middle of the third quarter. No looking back at this point. Albert Vick dropping back to pass, finding Jamel Cooley across the middle to about the 40-yard line. So now facing a 3rd and 3. Albert Vick's going to face a blitz, but get it out quickly to RJ Schultz, and he's going to get the 13-yard reception on that one. So now facing another 3rd down on this drive. Kevin Oliver's going to beat the slot corner for the slant route for a nice 16-yard gain. That was a 3rd and long, and he picks up enough for the first down. So now facing a 2nd and 5. Albert Vick's going to roll outright, dive for the end zone, but he's going to fumble. He's going to fumble. Look at this. The ball comes out before he gets inside the pylon, and that's going to be actually a touchback. So BYU takes over, luckily, because that could have easily been a 38-7 lead, but we fumble it away to the defense. But back out on offense, BYU just can't do anything. Parks is going to throw out to the left side. That one's going to be almost picked off by Vince Cohen. And, I mean, BYU, they just can't do anything in this game, punting it away once again. And on the next possession, almost to the fourth quarter, giving it to Ben Miller on the 15-yard reception. And we're almost to that time where we sub in our backups. We're going to let it play out to the fourth quarter. Albert Vick's going to throw the ball deep, but look at Eddie McRae. Look at the defender on that one. Makes a great diving catch on that one. Look at the extension. That throw was actually a pretty good throw. Just a great play by the defender, and they get another turnover, keeping this game alive. But facing a 3rd and 12, back out on defense is Marquette, and Todd Williams leads the way with a sack for his 11th sack on the season. And now here we go. The backups are in. Caden Joseph finding RJ Schultz on the slant route that time. So now inside the 10-yard line, they're sending a run blitz. And on the play action, RJ Schultz gets in for the touchdown. And that is going to be the game in this one. Marquette wins this game 38-14. And Cade Joseph gets in, throws a touchdown. Alex Brown goes for 127 for only 17 carries, 7.4 yards per carry. And this is a pretty much all-around game as far as the receivers go. Everybody pretty much touched the ball. On defense, Ron Sands got a sack. Also, LaRue Wiley came in the game. And actually, Red Johnson got hurt in this game. I don't know how long he's out for, but he did get hurt in this game. Todd Williams gets a sack. John Waters gets a pick. Josh Dunbar gets a pick. This is just a great all-around game, 38-14. We didn't give up pretty much any offense. I mean, the only offense we really gave up is garbage time, pretty much. I mean, that was the only time we really gave up offense. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. We're strolling out onto the end of this season. Only a couple more games left, so we're going to be facing that conference title game pretty soon. So we are title game bound, so stay tuned. Let's go.